First up, repairing hinges. Let's take a look at what I mean by a hinge. This right here is what I'm talking about when we repair hinges. So let's take a look at those materials. You're going to need some perforated adhesive cloth, is what Demco calls it, Norbond glue, and a paintbrush. You also need a scissor, some wax papers, a bone file, and rubber bands. Alright, so first we're going to measure out our strip of cloth and check it and cut it. That saying, measure twice, cut once, kind of applies here too. So, okay, that's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my sheet of wax paper and lay the cloth strip down on it. You can kind of tell which side is which because it kind of feels like there's an adhesive. So what I'm doing here, I'm just putting a single line of glue down the center of it, and I'm going to use the paintbrush to distribute it across there. There should be a somewhat generous amount of glue on here, not necessarily overflowing, but it still needs to be applied rather liberally. So I'm going to fold it on the perforation and line it up on the book's flyleaf page. I'm going to grab a bone file like that and smooth down the page. Before I kind of move into the final step, I need to put my wax paper in there and apply a little bit of pressure and open it up again. You want to make sure that they line up nicely without being too tight or too loose. Get that bone file in there again, and I'm kind of short of some glue on the top here, not a problem. Paintbrush will fix that right up. Gotta smooth it up again before we close it up, and then we can move on to our rubber bands. So like I did before in part 1, I put one close to the spine, and then I add 2 additional rubber bands just to keep the pressure consistent. And bring it over to our book press and tighten that up. Next we'll do a similar repair, a broken spine. This right here is what I mean by a broken spine, just right down the center. We use the same materials for this one as we did for our last repair. I'll lay down my wax paper and put that line of glue down the center there. And grab my paintbrush to fix that up. This repair on a broken spine is more of a temporary fix. If the book is more popular, you wouldn't necessarily fix it in such a way, and you might actually end up just purchasing a new one instead. Alright, so we will fold that on the perforation and lay it down on one side at a time. Trying to line it up pretty nice. This can be a little bit tricky in the center of the book like this. Alright. Yeah, see, told you, tricky. Okay, we'll put that on there, just kind of check it out. Throw my wax paper in there. With the fold to the middle. And then I'm going to check the outside of it like we did when we tipped in a signature, just to make sure that everything lines up. That looks good. Alright, so we'll get to our rubber bands with this one. Again, we're going to use 3 rubber bands. Oh. Alright, here we go. That third one in there. And that is it for me here at Burns Quambeck Library.